Man, oh my goodness. Hey guys, welcome to at least today's episode. We're doing just, an informal post game, post playoff game one pod. Joining me right now, John, what's going on?
Oh man, still trying to recover after the game. Oh boy, that was a doozy. I'll say
Oh,
that.
yeah. Whew. Guys, we don't have really any organization with today's pod. I don't have like a written schedule down like I kind of normally do. We're just, whew, man, we're just giving initial thoughts, just pure emotion on this one. John,
Yeah.
my heart, that Isaiah Thomas three, that three at the end, I'm just like,
Oh
seriously?
man. Yeah. The whole game. I mean, Celtics are just a weird team. I mean, Marcus Smart hits threes against us. I mean, if that three at the end of the game would have went in, it would have been typical Atlanta. It wouldn't have counted, but still, it just would have been typical Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Jeez. He hit the three. We got some rather interesting calls down the stretch with Isaiah Thomas getting to the free throw line.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course, it's Boston, so just might as well get ready for that.
yeah, for all the talk about what's his name for Marcus Smart being a bad free throw not free throw shooter, 3-point shooter. Um,
Hmm.
have you seen it? I haven't seen this supposed bad uh 3-point shooter.
I didn't hear you. You were breaking up for a second. But you talking about Smart?
Oh yeah. I was just saying, Smart supposedly being a bad 3-point shooter, man. I just don't know.
Eh, I don't know. The playoffs are weird, and if you make them, you make them. But Boston, I mean, what were they in the first half? Like 0 for 14 from three.
Yeah, oh for a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so early. It's game one. It's hard to really put it all in perspective. But I tell you what, I mean, the Celtics came out in the second half and really, I mean, they kind of took it to Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hmm. Let's go over that first half, or at least, do you remember anything from the first half besides the Hawks' defense looking good and the fact that they were missing shots to go with it?
Oh man, I thought it was just overall just a really great half. I mean, almost they were bad, but I think necessarily that they were a team that was just low in terms of the moment being too big. I mean, they took a lot. I just thought that Atlanta's defense great. Boston couldn't get anything, and I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a streaky team. We're really out of it, but at the same time, is never really out of it just because Boston's a little streaky. They can be really good, so they're going to play hard.
Yeah, they're going to play hard even down to the last second, even with them hitting these just 3-pointers and
Yeah,
oh man.
and I think one thing about Boston is like a little bit one-on-one play. Got smart. So if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be those guys. They're just gonna hit those weird, those strange shots, the Hawk, killer shots. So I don't expect, but he's just one of those hit threes against Atlanta.
Yeah,
He it
man.
just it,
I think you're cutting out on me a little bit towards the end there. But I think we got Christian joining us.
Yeah, I'm in
Christian, you
here.
hear us?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Not much. I'm I'm trying to get my heart back in the nice rhythm that
I
is
bet.
normal life.
Christian, we don't have an organization to today's pod, so we're just kind of just going with pure emotion right now. And emotionally, whew,
I mean, it is just the thing about it was one of my friends he's a big Boston fan, so uh, I was trying to tell him I'm past the point where I try to uh, uh, talk crap to people. I
yeah,
just I like to just analyze the game. I knew it's gonna be a close series, and I was like, just I didn't want it to be this close. I don't want this game. If every game's like this, I don't want to watch another game.
yeah.
My heart can't take it.
Well, let's talk about some of the good. Well, how do people normally divide stuff? Good and bad news? What you guys want to talk about? Good or bad news? Good or bad first?
Um,
uh let's go bad. Let's just get that out the way.
well, the bad, Kyle Korver missing every 3-point shot.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
shoot, man. Oh, shoot, man.
Man, I was reading, someone said, what's cooler than being cool? Kyle Korver's 3-point shooting. And I'm like,
I,
oh,
Bud did this in the fourth, and I was clamoring for it. I didn't want Korver in there. Um, when they had the Smart and Bradley lineup before Bradley went out with the injury, I wanted them to just do Teague, Bays, Saflosha, Millsap, Horford, just that lineup for the rest of the time, because
Yeah.
Bays' length would bother Marcus Smart, and Saflosha can play the three better. I mean, well, he could play the three better than what Bays can. He can play more efficiently on defensively, and you're not giving up a whole lot um, off, offensively when you're putting Saflosha at the three rather than Bays. You're giving up threes, a 3-point percentage from your three man. But I mean, I'm not looking for Tabo to do that anyway. So
yeah, they did go with that lineup for a little bit. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, all right,
and they
this
gave
is
up
all
on
right.
it.
This is all right. Jeez. And then Tabo, I guess, like had a couple fouls on Isaiah Thomas, and that was
Yeah,
when he started getting to the line, and I was like,
Yeah.
good lord.
and another thing, just a bad. How many long 2-point attempts did we have? Besides the threes that Corbin missed, how many long twos did we have in the fourth quarter?
Too many.
Yeah, just bad shots, but I
Yeah.
I mean I'm trying to think. I mean it's hard for me to analyze an opposing team's offense when I'm cheering for us on defense, you know.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to point out what Boston did, but I know what we did wrong on offense, but thank God. And is it not just is it me or is it could be y'all. Teague makes such good plays down the stretch, but you know one or two bad plays are coming. You don't know when, and they just kill you, whatever it
I
is.
would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that.
So the Teague play, I wonder if it was something that was coached to Smart to do when he made that steal, because you
Well,
watch the Hawks long enough, you kind of see the pass to the guy in the middle. In that case, it was Horford in the center.
Yeah.
Kind of just like jumped in the path because they always kind of throw it over the guy. So
I
to
but
me, it was yeah,
I see Smart backpedaling, and I think that Turner shielded him, and I don't think that
hmm
he saw the distance. He thought Smart was probably a lot closer. or on the other side. I don't know what he saw, but it was a bad pass.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
was.
It was a
I mean,
bad
for that
pass.
one, I would give Smart. I'd give Boston credit. I mean, I've seen Atlanta make that where they, kind of get in the passing lanes and do that. So, I mean, I'll give that one to Boston. It came at a bad time, but I'll give it to Boston.
I'll give Smart the athleticism there, but I don't think. I
Yeah,
mean, but still, I mean they had a guy in the middle of the paint. He was still within arm's length of Horford. If Smart's not there, make that lob. But the fact that Smart's there, I just don't think you make that pass. But
right.
I mean, he sees something, he's gonna go after it. So sometimes it works,
Fair point.
sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Let's see what else. They blew a lead.
Um,
I think the impact of, believe it or not, Tim Hardaway Jr. being hurt, playing hurt, was kind of felt because you mentioned you're like, so Korver is missing a lot of shots. Who's our backup shooting guard? Oh wait, he's hurt. It was kind of
but
felt.
the thing about it is when Korver, I mean, the only reason Korver is a vital part of that offense is because he's a catch and shoot three. Or just a catch and shoot guy that shoots at a higher percentage.
Right.
So he puts that pressure on the defense to win. So when he's not making it, nothing he can do. I mean, obviously he played lights out on D, but he's never been like that. I mean, he's been a good defensive player, but never lights out, like just stop somebody. He's not really providing a whole lot of value. He's just kind of there to take a man away. But I mean, if you're Boston, you know how much he's missed, and you see how he's missed. I mean, it's not like any one of those were really close. I mean, you gotta think to yourself, hey, all I gotta do is be right beside him, and he's got the yips. He's too shaky. He's too shaky. He won't make it.
That's true, though Boston still kind of defended him because I think that's
Yeah.
kind of like if they leave him, they don't want to leave him open
Oh yeah,
type of thing.
definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to sag off of him. Like all of his 3-point attempts to me, like maybe he had one or two that were just kind of like, okay, he should hit that.
Yeah, like
Right.
don't get me wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
he's out there. They're still going to defend him. Whoever's at the two. I mean, Boston's well coached to where they're going to play good defense. But it's just if you're gonna take those shots, because I feel when I look at there's somebody like Korver, he's gonna make contested 3-point attempts. I don't expect him to make every uncontested 3-point attempt, but I expect him to make at least probably 50% of those. And
Yeah.
and he's been such a reliable shooter throughout his career that I expect him to make contested. I mean, it's what he does. He's catch and shoot guy, and he does it well. So, I mean, it bothered me. That's why I wanted them to
Yeah.
go with Baze. And Baze was playing great today.
Yep. He's Baze is going to be our DeMar Carroll this year. I mean, yeah, he led us in points, right? Or did Horford kind of come back at the end and beat him in point production?
Let me look that. I think Horford might have had 24 and Baze had 22, but
Uh, yeah.
let me check.
He led us for a while. So, I mean, I think with Corver, the second half we were a little tight. I think as that lead started to, get smaller and smaller, and I think those second half threes were just were a little bit pressed for Corver. So, I mean, I think he still has value. You still got to have him on the court for the offense, but when it comes to crunch time, if he's not hitting it, you gotta go. You gotta go with Bazemore or Tabo. I
Okay,
mean,
because what do y'all feel like with Baze the two? I know that John Barry has said that even during the broadcast, it's like Atlanta doesn't have a true 2-point or two guard, and I look at somebody like Corver as a 2 guard. I don't really see him all that much as a 3, but I mean, Baze is he's a 2-3 hybrid, but I mean he can play the two well. He's always I mean he can play shooting guard. I mean it's not like he can't, and it's not like he'll mess up offensively or defense. I mean he runs Bud's offense really well wherever he's at. I feel like he understands it.
Yeah, I think Baze is he's in that perfect spot where he's generally the fifth guy on the court at almost all times. So I think he's just perfect at just kind of being that guy that you kind of don't know what to expect sometimes. Like he can be a little erratic, but I mean he's the one guy that really drives the ball, to the basket. I probably more than most of our guys. So I mean I think he's fine at the two, but I mean he's an undersized three. As long as he's the fifth guy on the floor, I'm fine with it. Now we start trying to depend on Bazemore to be our, leading scorer, we might be in a little trouble. But
Hey.
I'm expecting it, man. I love Bazemore.
Hey guys, real quick, out there in the broadcast, we had JM join the pod right now. JM, if you can hear us, we're going over the bad first before we go into the good. Currently, we were just talking about Korver and his cold shooting right now. But
yeah, well,
Go
the
ahead.
bad would be the bad. You got to throw in my Twitter feed for the bad.
Oh my goodness.
I said a few choice words down the stretch, so.
You did. I wasn't able to type out the choice words I was saying. So, oh my goodness.
Yeah, there were quite a few type out delete tweets from me.
Yeah, I'll have to go back through and get rid of a few, I'm sure.
You know what? I'm proud of us, guys. We're admitting to this. Good job. Good job, guys.
It's the typical Hawks playoff game that I've gotten used to over the last few years, where when it's over and they finally won, you just feel so mentally and emotionally exhausted. Like wow.
Can't even say it better.
We made it.
The only time it wasn't that was that playoff series against the Heat where it was just pure blowouts every other game. And it was just like, serious?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh boy.
I
Back to the Woody days.
I probably attribute this series and how close it's going to be and how bad my heart's going to feel after. Like, just, it's going to be, I'm probably going to have to go to the nursing home for at least a year after. But it's probably the Nets series from last year where I just, I really, oh man, I hated that series. Just because I don't like Deron Williams.
That game where Darren Williams went off like crazy in Game 4, I'm lucky I didn't break my television and some other expensive items throughout the house. I was livid.
Wizard series too, because I just hated seeing Paul Pierce's face.
Oh god.
And we had to endure Paul Pierce shots on the last play of the game, basically, like 4 straight games.
Every freaking game.
Every game it came down to Paul Pierce. Unreal.
Once you see one fall, you're afraid every one of them is going to fall.
Well, okay, so at the end of the game, when you saw Jay Crowder all of a sudden hit that three, and then Isaiah Thomas hit that three, the 5'9" Isaiah Thomas hit the three and contested. You know what I'm saying? They contested three. I thought that Marcus Smart shot, even though I know it was impossible for it to go in, I thought that Marcus Smart shot was going to go in, where he just kind of threw it at the back.
Oh yeah, I knew it was good. In my heart of hearts, just watching that ball, I knew it was going in. That's going in.
And I could tell in live action that it was going to be waved off anyway, that he got it off late. But it was not surprising that the damn thing hit the backboard and almost that it actually had a chance to go in was just totally absurd.
Yeah.
Me and David earlier, we were talking about excuse me, not David, John. We were talking earlier about how Marcus Smart is supposedly supposed to be a bad 3-point shooter, and it's like, really? I haven't seen this.
Oh yeah, he is,
Yeah.
and pretty bad. And for some reason, he just has something about since we run a similar offense and defense to San Antonio. I'd like to see what he does against San Antonio, like his percentages. I know they don't play him often, but I'd like to see what he has done. So that's probably
True.
something I'll look up later
Yeah.
tonight.
True.
We need like a power rankings of guys like the worst players that just absolutely kill the Hawks. Just season to season, Marcus Smart is like number one right now.
I can try and look that.
Man, I could name guys all night.
What's his name? Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks makes that.
Yes,
Oh my God.
Lord. Jarrett Jack always hits everything against us.
He does, man.
Jarrett Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that he's a good player only because of that. I watch him against the Hawks, and he looks so good that I'm just like, Jarrett Jack is a starting point guard.
He's a
Give him a
stud.
chance,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Vince Carter. Oh my God.
Are we gonna talk about Dennis, or are we just gonna exclude it? Just be like, yeah, it was Dennis.
All right, let's let me clear the throat. Let me roll my neck around. Get ready for this. Woo! All right, who wants to talk about Dennis first? Who wants to volunteer?
I'm not. All right.
Go ahead.
I'll say this about Dennis. Last year is like when I know he's young, but last year I saw those inconsistencies, like where he just was, like those bad games. It's just like every decision up and down the court, like it was just so questionable. You don't know where his head's at, and I love him to death because he does play well, and he has gotten better at being more consistent within the offense, especially. But I was just clamoring on those bad games for him, for us to look for a trade, for us to find somebody else because I couldn't handle it. And this is kind of one of those. I don't think he played as bad as probably one, but probably you could probably find a lot worse games where he's played made really bad decisions. But man, that's just bad decisions. Just bad plays all around, and it. I don't know what to say about it a lot of the time. I'm just gonna attribute to him being young, but boy does it suck.
JM, you got anything?
Yeah, he was really bad.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. Well, as far as Dennis is concerned, yeah, it was pretty brutal tonight. I don't know what his stats were, but I just know that the entire offense was a mess while he was out there, and it affected the other players. Granted, in his defense, he was out there with a very limited lineup at times, with Hardaway, Moose, and Mike Scott was in there, although he did play pretty well tonight. But, he wasn't exactly out there with the studs the entire time. But that said, it's just a noticeable difference to me when Teague goes out. It's just the offense, it's just so clunky. Guys are dropping passes, they're not moving, the ball stops. And Schroeder dribbles for like 17 seconds out of the 24. It's just so different. When Teague gets back in the game, the ball starts zipping around again. It's just a total change. So I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Yeah, I mean, everyone pretty much said it. He was terrible, and I wonder if Dennis is going to be that guy that when he's bad, it's bad, but when he's good, it's great. And I don't know. I mean, I think
And he's going to have
contributed
moments
to
because
them
he's
being
talented.
During the entire
Yeah,
season,
and I mean,
during the entire
I guess I
season,
look at Jeff Teagan. All right, if Jeff Teagan is third year, how well would he be playing, in our system? Because I don't, I don't like to compare Jeff and Dennis too much, just because Jeff's been in the league for a while now. I mean, he's pretty much a vet at this point, and I
Yep.
mean, Dennis, he's just still young. But I think if the Hawks, I don't want to get into all the off season, but I don't know how long before Dennis will be ready to take over the starting mantle. So, I mean,
we see what
it's gonna be Jeff this
Isaiah
postseason.
Thomas.
I mean, you're gonna have to play a lot of minutes.
We see what Isaiah Thomas can do as a small point guard. And remember, nobody wanted to give him a shot as a starting. I was clamoring for that 3 years ago. I was like, Isaiah Thomas is a top 5 point guard. Somebody give him a shot.
Yeah.
And we see, and nobody wanted to give him the shot as a starter because of his size. Well, I mean, he's just a great player, and it's going to kill me to continue watching it because he does make good decisions. A good player in the draft that's coming out that I think is exactly like him that can be able to do that is Kay Felder out of Oakland, and compares completely to Isaiah Thomas. And that's even though I like Dennis and I like his progress, I would rather have him. I'd rather take a shot on a point guard through the draft, even if in the second round.
Well,
Just because of those inconsistencies, I mean, throughout the season, I mean, it's just like the things like Jeff Teague was averaging while he was playing per his possessions, 12 more passes per game than Dennis, and that's adjusted.
well, I was going to say, let's get into the draft. That's going to be a whole subject on its own, draft talk. But you're right. So, Christian, you're saying he's throwing extra passes whenever he's in the game compared to Dennis?
No. Jeff's passing on average 12 more times per game.
Okay.
That's adjusted per 100 possessions, and like JM was saying, it like zips the ball around when Jeff Teague's in there. So if an offensive breakdown occurs, we know to get it back to the point, or Jeff Teague or Dennis, whoever's running the point at the time. And a good way to measure that is per 100 possessions. Jeff Teague was averaging 63 passes received. So, and Dennis Schroeder was averaging 47 per 100 possessions. So that means that the offense is running more fluid through Jeff, obviously, and the assist points that are created are 14 to 10 of Jeff to Dennis. So
Yeah.
I mean, these are all weighted statistics, so they're averaged out.
Yeah.
For each other. So
Well,
it's just those little things that you can see, and he's gonna learn a lot from Jeff. But do we want these bad games? Are they gonna stop? Do we think they're gonna stop?
well, when we see him, he's still young. I don't know. Jeff actually didn't start really playing until his 4th year, and that's when he was actually made a starter, if we remember. But I don't know. It's still kind of just one playoff game. Dennis does have time to improve the play, so there's that to be positive.
It just scares me, guys, that Dennis is sort of looked at as the point guard of the future for this franchise, and I am just scared to death. He's got so many bad habits that he has got to shake. When the pick and roll, when you're working that thing up at the top, and they play good D and sort of shut it down, then you've got to maybe take a couple dribbles, but you've got to make a move or give the ball up. You've got to keep it you got to keep it moving, you got to keep it rolling, and Jeff understands that. But Dennis, they'll run that pick, and they'll kind of shut it down, and Dennis will just kind of stand there and dribble, like, okay, I'll just dribble for a while, and I don't.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that, man.
No, I mean, my point was kind of fizzling out there, but I mean, yeah, he just likes to pound the thing to the floor, and they've got to. I don't know how you get those bad habits out. I don't know. Is he ever going to learn? That's the thing.
Well, we see in.
I would just attribute it to him being young. I mean, because if we're really looking at the point guard position and all the top point guards, I mean, how many of them really were third season just so polished? I mean, obviously you got the Chris Pauls, and I mean, at one point it was Darren Williams. But I think it just takes a while for the point guards, and he's an international player. I do think that affects it a little. But do we really expect Dennis to make the same mistakes come year 8? So I think he's fine for the future. I think he'll get it, but it's just the years where we have to go through to get to year 8 where he's polished, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, guys, we did our Dennis talk. He had a. I just want to point out he had a fresh new haircut with a fresh new 17 in the back of his head. So maybe that might be attributed. I don't know.
It looked good, man. It was new aerodynamics. That's what it was. He was getting used to the aerodynamics.
That's what it was. So,
but
I'm just blaming his lounge.
Just
his lounge.
Back to that.
I'm blaming that.
Oh.
No, back to that. He's a young thing. I do think that he'll obviously be a better player, and it is a league where they think he's going to be the point guard of the future. I mean, teams play not just for this year, but 4 or 5 years in advance. So I do think that he's going to become more polished, but to what extent, though? Is he going to be – is all we can expect from him what Jeff is now? I mean, it's not like Jeff is the end-all, be-all point guard. I mean, he's good for our offense, but is that what we're the only thing we're looking for? So I guess it's just those type of questions, like what's his end game, and what's he going to be like as polished as he possibly can.
True. JM, we kind of had a theory with Dennis. We wonder kind of like what's his record like after that DS17 lounge opened up.
Hey, Christian's pretty good with the stats. Maybe do you have that?
What's the stat?
I was just joking. We were saying
since the lounge opened up, what's the win-loss record?
What was the day?
I can't even remember.
That's a good question. I don't think anyone knows.
You know what? We'll talk about it next game if we can. Like, geez, I don't know if
I'm gonna pull up some funds. I have some good sites, and I have bare minimum programming language of R to where I can input a big data set. So I'm gonna pull up some fun statistics of Dennis versus Jeff, and then I'll bring him on next time.
I'm starting to feel bad because we've just bashed Dennis for like 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, and listeners,
we just let him have it. Make sure and tweet Dennis the link to this podcast.
Oh my goodness! Listen,
it'll fire him up.
Oh yeah. It's just kind of like we don't hate Dennis. We're all rooting for him. We want him to be good.
Yeah.
I'd love for it to happen. I'd love for him to be the best point guard in the game.
Yeah. We all want him to be good, but Jeff can't play the entire game like he did tonight because you could tell at the end, like, even with that turnover, it's just kind of like he must be gassed because
they keep having to put Jeff in earlier than they want to.
Looking like Kobe, just absolutely drained mentally and physically.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like you see Jeff is I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's just kind of like whenever Jeff does something, I'm like, he has got to be tired because he's like,
Right.
you can't sit him. All right, let's get to the positives real quick. We are at what maybe 30 minutes right now, so let's get to the positives. Since we were just bashing on the bads, they won. They barely won. They won the game. That's positive.
So that's always a positive, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
doesn't matter how you do it as long as you get
That's all I need is the win. I don't care what else happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but what good did you guys see?
Back to the I mean, I know Jeff did play a lot. I loved his efficiency on his drives. He seemed like he was just in total command once he was in the paint to make better decisions. Didn't always make the best decisions, but I think that Al played off that really well. Hated those couple long twos that he shot, but other than that, just Al feeding off of Jeff was phenomenal takeaway from this game.
Yeah. Who's next? John, go ahead.
Yeah, my main takeaway from the game would just be that the Hawks are now a team that has playoff experience, and they faced some adversity tonight. They went through a stretch where the Celtics were hitting everything, got down by 3 points late after being up by 19, and they kept doing what they do. They got to the free throw line, they kept attacking, made some big plays, and they closed the game out. They did what a veteran team does against a younger team that doesn't have playoff experience, and that's so nice to see. And it's comforting to know that we have veteran players that know how to play in those situations now. So that's my main takeaway.
Yeah.
Except against Washington in the 82nd game of the season, no one can clinch the 3 seed.
Hey, now, that's in the past.
I'm still salty over it.
I'm going to be so mad if the Pacers win. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
That we could have played them. Oh.
I'm going to be mad, but at the same time, I also kind of wonder, could we have beaten the Heat? Like we could, but
That's the other side of it. That would have been really tough.
because I think
Yes,
the Heat would.
I think we can because I just don't think the Heat are that good. I think the Hornets are going to beat them over this series. I think the Hornets are going to improve a lot more. They're young, but I think the Hornets are going to win that series. But if the Heat do win, it's just going to make me mad because then they'll beat the Pacers, and then it's the Heat versus. I'm not saying that the Cavs are going to win, but God, like if they did, I just hate those storylines.
Well,
I just don't like that.
this is still just one game. We'll see what happens with the Raptors, but man, the David, you got anything?
I would just say, I mean, I think that Atlanta is just miles ahead of Boston in terms of just being so much better. But this series, and it's weird, it's the exact opposite of the '07 series, or was it '08 or whatever, against the Celtics, where I think that we're kind of the Celtics, we're the veteran team, we have experience, and then the Celtics are the Hawks, where they just got a bunch of young, hungry players, and it's just going to be that kind of series, I think. But I think Atlanta is much, much, much better, even though the records are the same. But I thought that the Celtics they're going to push Atlanta, I think, and Atlanta withstood it and they won the game. It was a bit of a scare, but I mean the defense was great. Horford was big. The big players for Atlanta stepped up, and that
Defense
was
was
my big
awesome.
takeaway from the game.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
defense.
awesome. And I mean,
Defense was amazing, even though Isaiah Thomas got to the free throw line without being touched. But that's another issue on its own.
How many times has that happened to Atlanta?
I mean, like there was a time at the end where it was like,
Oh my God.
he's gonna get a call. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but
Yeah, that's like just watching it down the stretch. Yeah, I mean, what 3 possessions in a row? He went to the free throw line. So just things like that. But I've come to expect. I mean, just from Bud and from the Hawks team, that we're gonna have a good defensive showing, mostly every game. Not too many quarters or long stretches do we have a bunch of defensive breakdowns. I mean, our identity is our defense and our defensive principles and how well we're able to limit teams from doing what they're good at.
one thing I thought that was kind of neat to watch was maybe it was just me, but we didn't seem to have a rebounding issue this game. It's like
I was just about to say that rebounding was
yeah,
top notch.
Absolutely. Horford was
yeah. Horford
a
was
grown man tonight. I mean,
yeah,
huge plays.
And we were
Huge
getting
plays.
50-50
And I think,
rebounds.
yeah, that never happens. Never happens.
Horford and Millsap were.
I mean, like I said, I was glad to see the big guys step up. Horford was great. Jeff T was even better than me. It'll be a good series. I'm looking forward to it.
We need Corver to start hitting a few.
Yeah, that would help.
Oh yeah.
But we
I
withstood
think
that
it'll
last
come.
year in the playoffs.
Yeah, we withstood a lot last year, and I think even this game, I think I just saw on the ESPN ticker we were 5 for 27, which was like the worst 3-point percentage for a team that won a game or something like that. So our offense is still kind of broken, and we just got to rely on defense. And
But I
I
think
don't know if
last
maybe
year
some.
taught.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chad.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt there. I think last year sort of taught the Hawks how to find other ways to score when the normal stuff is not working. Because, in that Nets series last year, I think the first few games were like a shock to the Hawks. It was like, whoa, we're not running like a well-oiled
Right.
machine like we were in the regular season. But they fought through that and through those. Um, Through that run, I think they learned how to deal with that and deal with the ebbs and flows of the playoffs. So, hopefully that'll carry over this year.
I mean, as
I
an
It did
agree.
tonight.
I think defense has kind of basically been our calling card of most of the
Hmm.
year. Obviously, the second half has been just amazing, but I think I remember early in the season, from like day one of training camp, it was just straight defense from Bud. So I mean, it's definitely paying off, and I just think the offense. I don't expect it to really ever look like what it did last year. I think
Right.
Atlanta just gonna have to find some legitimate shooters. Like Corver, he's the only guy that's just a true shooter. So we're gonna have to find more
Mhm.
guys to really run what we run. But I think Atlanta, they're still set up for me. I know we're kind of getting off track, or I am. But for the future, if you're gonna play the kind of defense that Atlanta's playing, I think they'll be fine. No team wins without defense. It is what it is.
and back to
Ask Phoenix.
back to what you're saying. Offensively, out of the eight teams in the Eastern Conference, uh, our offensive efficiency is seventh, only better than Indiana. Um,
Ooh.
our defensive efficiency is the best. Um, we're fourth in points scored and fourth in allowing points, but that's also we're second in effective field goal percentage and second in true shooting percentages, which are kind of like a combination of the game as a whole. But our opponent's effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage are we're the best out of the Eastern Conference in both of those categories. So like what you're saying, I mean, our defense is our identity, and it's even at times when we're not playing our best. I mean, it's still a staple point in what we do well, and we're not going to have long runs or many possessions, honestly, during an entire quarter where we play bad defense. So I'm glad that we were able to do that down the stretch once they were hitting those threes. Boston's a really good offensive team. Probably the worst or second worst defensive team, and based on statistics and analytics, mind you, that they do have some individual players that play great defense.
Do you have these numbers just kind of just like pulled
I
up?
do.
Or,
I do.
or do you have? No, I just like to think you have them memorized when you say stuff.
Nah,
Like,
you
got to
see
know
this?
this.
You see this? This is one.
What is this? Wait.
This is two.
What
This
did you do,
three.
bro?
Hey, man, it's all on NBA stats, man. All on NBAstats.com.
Oh man.
But no, like those things, those contribute to. I'm big into usage rates too, but I'm not going to get into like an analytics type of thing. Just to clarify, y'all had said that we had rebounded really well. Our offensive rebounding rate and just how much we allow teams. We were the worst offensive rebounding team out of the 8 playoffs teams, and the worst in allowing rebounds in the out of the 8 playoffs teams in the East. So that's something that we can say, hey, that's an outlier, and we'll have to obviously limit them on their threes next game, because we can't always expect to out rebound them based on what we do. But we still have this one game sample to say we're going to do well with it. So it's just those little things, and I don't I could probably pull them up, but I don't have the stats right on me. Do we know? How many offensive rebounds did we get, and how many did they get?
I don't have the box score in front of me, but
I'll look it up. I think I have it right here.
Well, while you're looking, I just wanted to say real quick to you guys, I hope Hardaway gets better, because the bench could use him. Even though he's kind of like just like on or off, and the game before he got hurt, he was on, so it'd be nice to have that additional scoring off the bench, since there's where we need it.
We had 13 offensive rebounds. They had 15. We had 50 overall rebounds. We had 53. So we out rebounded the third best rebounding team out of the playoff teams, behind Detroit, because Andre Drummond only, and Cleveland.
Yeah.
But that's just on their offensive rebounds, and we hung with them. But to out rebound them in and of itself is a great feat, and I think we should definitely try to maximize that throughout the entire series, because it led to a win tonight.
Yeah.
Even when we weren't playing our best, even when we were hitting threes or Dennis was making lapses of judgment.
Well, yeah, Dennis. Let me ask you guys. Well, JM, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, you mean as far as just the game in general, or what Christian was?
Go ahead with the game in general, because I wanted to try to wrap it up soon. Now that I'm looking at my clock.
Well, looking ahead to game 2, my hopes are just that we shoot better from 3. And the defense has been consistent, so I'm not really worried about that. But surely the Celtics will not hit all those threes, especially Crowder and Marcus Smart. I mean, come on, that's got to cool off in game 2. So, I mean, just based on the normal percentages, you would think that there should be some stuff in our favor for game 2.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well,
Yeah, that's basically it, man. I'm just glad we won. Anytime the Hawks win a playoff game, that's a big night.
well, this has been fun. David, you got anything for the upcoming game or final thoughts, really, as I try to wrap this up real quick?
For me, it's just the bench. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers now. Moose didn't take a shot. Dennis 0 for 6. Tabo 0 for 3. Hardaway 0 for 2. Mike Scott 6 for 9. That can't happen again.
Yeah.
Just can't happen again. One guy makes a shot. Come on.
How did you like that first half Moose appearance? I was kind of like, what? How'd you guys like that?
Well,
I love Moose.
Yeah,
he's +1.
There you
so
go.
there's that.
He won the game for us.
There you go. Yeah, we won by 1 point.
I like seeing Moose anytime he comes in. I just love this. I love his motor. I love the way he plays. Like he just goes in there and gives it his all, even if it's not.
I like him, man. I'm a huge fan.
Just love it.
I didn't think he did bad when he was in there. And it's
Hey,
like,
he didn't have a chance because Hardaway and Dennis were just dribbling the ball off their feet.
that's true.
Right.
Though I kind of feel, since Hardaway is dealing with an injury, because it just seemed, because there was a couple instances where it kind of seemed, okay, he's coming up slow for some of the stuff. He didn't have as quick as a burst, but I guess that's why we didn't see him at all in the second half. But
Yeah.
Back to the season, just we were up by 19. That was our largest lead.
19, yeah.
Yeah.
19?
Besides that last game against Miami, that was their only 15 plus points comeback win. So
Wow. So they almost did it twice in a row.
yeah, that's in and of itself a feat. So they had one 20-point comeback loss where they lost within 3 points. So we also did something to them again. We added another stat to them.
all right, guys, any last things you want to say? Christian, you have a final comment you want to make real quick?
Yeah. I love that we got the win. That's regardless of how we did it or who played well or who didn't or what we didn't do or what we did do. Glad that we got the win, and I'm glad that we were able to show that we can come back from adversity, even though we were up and then we lost the lead and be able to win. I'm not looking forward to the rest of the games because I don't know if I can. I'll watch them and I'll continue to put my heart through it, but it's probably going to be a close series. So hopefully it's just a 4-game sweep with what I'm thinking. Hopefully it's just we blow them out these next 3 games, but I don't see it. But I think we'll be able to win this next game versus them. We'll be able to shoot it a lot better. Not looking forward to going to Boston, but if we can get a 2-0 lead, I'll start to feel a lot more comfortable.
David, go ahead. Final thoughts.
My final thought is I'm just looking forward to just seeing how the Hawks approach these next couple games, just to see how they look. I mean, they kind of had a little let up in this one, obviously, and I just want to see what they really learned from last year's, playoff run. So that's my final thought. I really, I want to see them come out, and I think I tweeted this kind of, put their foot on their neck, but. We'll see. Celtics are a tough team. I give them all the credit in the world, but we will see.
JM, give us what you think, man.
Well, just like everybody else has been saying, it's always great to win, especially a playoff game. As a Hawks fan, it's just it's something to celebrate. Game 2, I think, is huge. I think if we go up 2-0, in a lot of ways, I think the series, it would be really difficult for Boston to come back from that, because I think Atlanta will definitely win a game in Boston. So if we go up 2-0, the series is in our hands to win at that point. And to get more specific, I guess we just need the bench to play better. So a lot of guys didn't really show up tonight. Dennis basically gave us, I don't know what the stats say, but it looked like he gave us nothing from my observation. So yeah, and a lot of things for the Celtics went their way that were just totally ridiculous. A lot of just crazy shots from everybody involved on their side. So, if some of that turns around, maybe we could get maybe not a blowout, but it'd be nice to get like a double-digit win at home, maybe win going away.
All right. So, guys, thank you, everyone, for listening, who tuned in and listening. Thank you, all you guys, for joining us. Well, thank you guys for coming in and talking with me after the game. I'm hoping I can actually go and buy one of those Volt T-shirts.
You can. I checked out the Hawk shop during I think during TV timeout of the third quarter. You can go. Actually, you can buy a bunch of different variations, but I think you can buy that specific one.
Heck yeah.
Get you some Volt shoelaces or something to go with it.
By the way, I thought it was the most brilliant strategy to get Volt, even though I've been jokingly saying it. But the fact that it kind of blends in with the Celtic green T-shirts, you can't tell the difference of who's there versus, you know what I'm saying?
Which is a good thing. If you can disguise the opposing fans,
yeah,
they're really your fans.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway,
I thought it looked pretty cool. Just something different. I wouldn't want to do it all the time, but it looked pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it wasn't like a neutral kind of like a plain color like you see red or blue or white.
Right.
It was different. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it in that sense.
Yeah. If we could just get Atlanta fans to actually put the shirts on, the crowd still look like I'm watching the OKC game right now. Everybody has the shirts on.
They all do it.
It looks great.
Well,
and then Atlanta's still that weird kind of city.
Yeah,
so
because
I get it.
All the fans that go to those games are divas. That's why.
Oh.
I don't want to do that.
Well, okay, so little joke here. My friend Ray, I used to say, why is it they always chant OKC every single time? My friend Ray says, what else are they going to chant? Corn, corn, corn? But I feel like, they're grateful for their team there.
What I always like is they show all these old dudes out at OKC, and they've got the the collared shirt, and then they put the T-shirt over it.
Yeah. That's the.
Come on, you gotta come to the game better prepared. They're gonna give out T-shirts. You can't put the T-shirt over your starched collared shirt. Come on.
It's basically them.
Yeah, well,
I'm here to have fun, but I'm also here to party.
Okay.
Business underneath.
All right, guys. Hey, this is kind of cool.
Call.
We may have to try after game 2, if any of you guys would be free. But
Post game's where it's at, man.
Post games.
Immediate reactions. Just don't do it. Just don't do it during the game. Don't do it during the game. That would be bad.
Oh my God.
That would actually be interesting, just to see us screaming, yelling.
Well, you could just go.
You wouldn't even hear me because I'd put my phone or iPad down and then I'd be pacing around because I'm so nervous. You'd barely hear me faintly, and then I'd come back in really mad or something to make a point, then go back out. You'd hear me
It's like my. Well, it's kind of like for anybody that pays attention to my Twitter, it's like the more sarcastic I sound, that's the more annoyed I'm getting watching these games. So, just for some future. Anyway, we got to go. I appreciate you guys listening in. Christian, David, JM, thank you for joining me. We got to try this again after the next post game.
No
Absolutely.
problem.
Definitely.
Yeah, heck yeah. Anyway, see you guys
See you
later.
guys.
Enjoy your
You
night.
guys.
Yeah.
Peace.